You are now listening to Femme Regard Podcast with Tessa Markle
and Carolina Alvarez.
Femme.
Hey, Femme Fam. We have a couple of awesome guests for you today, one of which has actually been a prior guest on our show in the past, and we will link that episode in the show notes as well. But today we want to welcome Blake, Berlin, and Brittney Bertier, and they are the two stars of the film Instead, which was written and directed by Blake. And this film, y'all, I was so impressed when I saw it. I mean, Blake and I have been friends for years, so I heard a lot about the process, and I know that there was no budget. I know that it was such a shoestring crew, so you never know what to expect. You're going to support your friends regardless, right? No, you guys, I watched it and I was like, oh my God, you guys did such a good job. So really impressed with what you can pull off with so little, They'll get into the budget. Guys, one-man crew. Literally one guy, camera, sound, all of it, insane. So they're going to talk about, what all went into that process and how they pulled it off. But it just really goes to show what you can pull off with next to nothing.
Yeah.
And we're so proud of them. And we're so excited to see Instead making it through the festival circuit. So I think you guys will really get some inspiration and some good little, advice, tips and tricks kind of thing from Blake and Brittney today.
Yes, and Tessa just covered it all. That's essentially what we get into. And I was also very impressed with what they were able to accomplish. I didn't realize it was a one-man crew. I didn't think that was ever possible, and it really isn't. So to see that they found someone to work with them and in all kinds of ways, when you set out to do a project, we do really believe things do come together as long as you keep, pushing through all the hurdles. So I just feel like it overall is a story that encourages, I think, anyone who's looking to make a feature and is worried about funding. And again, it all comes down to smart producing and finding a team that's really there to support you. And I think if their friend was like, no, this is not, I can't do it, then they, it wouldn't have happened. But he was very resourceful, scrappy, and figured it out. So it's truly a well done film at the end of the day. And you guys should definitely go check it out at a festival near you. Follow them on social media to stay keep up with announcements. And yeah, guys, enjoy the show.
We're so excited to talk about your film. And Brittney, you've been on the show before. Listeners, we will link that episode in the show notes. So welcome back. And Blake, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. So excited to be back.
I know. How have you been, Brittney? It's been a while. Was it a year ago or so?
I feel like it probably was.
I feel like it was a year. I don't think it was more than a year.
Sounds right.
But no. I feel like a year has surpassed and so much has happened in your life. Congrats to so many things. We got a house, a baby, a whole
just a blur of motherhood.
Oh, well, I love seeing all the updates on Instagram. And speaking of Instagram, Blake, I always notice you're a really great supporter to us and our work. And so I just really appreciate all the love you share. And we just are so happy to have you both on the show, and you, Blake, for the first time to kind of show that love back, because man, indie film, it's a wild ride that we're on at times. And I always what I love about, bringing on guests like y'all is that it's so hard to get the thing done. But then when you do it so well, it's just we're here for it. So we're here to celebrate it. So let's introduce, a bit about you guys first. As we know a little bit of Brittney, but Brittney, if you want to introduce again yourself, your roles, and Blake as well. And then we'll kind of get into, the making of your film. So let's start there. Yeah. Whoever wants to go first, share a little bit about yourself.
Ladies first.
Oh, okay. I feel like Blake has the most to say about this film because it was his baby and he did so much for it. I am the other actor in it. It's a 2-actor film, as you know. And yeah, I'm an actor, writer, lived in LA for a long time. Now I'm on the East Coast and do a lot of comedy writing and produce my own stuff. And yeah, I'm going to let Blake take it away because you guys, we've been through this before and Blake is new to the audience.
Yeah, I am the God. Let's see. Let's list all the jobs: writer, director, producer, co-star, catering, props, and transportation of instead.
Woo!
All the things.
I love seeing the
All
credits
the things.
roll. I was like gonna film that. Be like, this is what's up, fam.
No, I know. It's like the last day of filming. I don't know if you remember Brittany, but I said to Nathan, I was like, shout out to Nathan Johansson, who is like our one-man miracle filmmaker, who was, lights, camera, sound, editor, sound mixer. I was like, you know how they say stunts and then they list all the stunt players? We should just put your name and then just list all the jobs.
Honestly, for both of you.
Yeah.
Oh wow! So you had your sound guy setting up lights. Was he like your key grip and gaffer essentially?
Literally everything. Like, think of a job on set.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
it
was literally mostly the 3 of us on set. And I mean, I didn't contribute to any of that stuff, but watched them put everything together and it was insane. So it's basically like a 2-man job, all those things.
Well, and like, even, when it came to meal breaks, because Brittany was pregnant at the time, so she had, her own assortment of food going on, and he and I are just off to the side sharing a Little Caesars pizza every day.
I couldn't do that. I was like, nope, I'll bring my own food.
I was just saying, wasn't it like you at the time you couldn't eat like tomatoes? You were like, that makes me
sick. There was just like so many things. So I had to eat like constantly. I ate between like every time we changed the scene, I would eat. So I just came with my own snacks.
That's right.
Except for
the joys of being pregnant on set.
Yeah, for In-N-Out, I was like, I know my order.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. Well, Blake, as the writer of the film, and this is your feature debut, correct? Or okay,
yes.
Well, congrats on that. What is Instead about for our listeners to like understand, and why did you choose to write a story about this wonderful relationship that we saw unfold?
Well, Instead is essentially about a girl who shows up at her ex-boyfriend's apartment with the intention of wanting to be friends again. And kind of over the next 24 hours, they kind of try this experiment of like, can we do this? It started, I basically tried for about 8 years to get another feature film made. Had a lot of almost got them stories in terms of funding. And so then I was like, it's just not going to happen. So I went through like a little bit of a creative depression, and then the pandemic hit. And then I watched Tick, Tick, Boom. And I watched this guy try to get his story made for 8 years. So I was like, I feel the pain, man.
You're like, it feels too real, too close to home.
Exactly. So the movie was about how we went and just did this like bare bones musical. And so I was like, all right, that's what I need to do. And around that time, a buddy of mine with a production company, he hired me to write a film. He's like, something just happened to a friend of mine. His ex showed up at his door wanting to be friends again. And she said, I'm not leaving until we're friends again. And I was just like, that's insane. And he's like, no, I know, but it's like, I think that could be a movie. And it sounds like something that would be in your wheelhouse. So I went ahead and I wrote it, and I gave it to a couple people, one of them being Brittany. And I was like, do you like this? And everybody liked it. gave it to my friend with a company, and he was like, I don't like this. And then, so
Wait,
so
and
he
how,
was
back
like,
it up. How did you and Brittney know each other then? Because
we met we met on an audition for another film,
For Nate?
oh,
and
what?
Yeah, for
mhm.
the other guy that helped make this film with Blake, which is crazy.
Yeah,
That is crazy.
I know. And we were, because it was like right before you were getting ready to move to New York,
Yeah.
and but I remember like talking with her and just thinking like, I have got to work with this girl at some point. Like this is just this. It was like it kind of felt. I don't know about you, Britt, but it felt pretty immediate.
Yeah,
for
we
me.
like
I was
became
like, this.
fast.
There's something here.
Yeah, we became fast friends, and I didn't get the part, but Blake did. So we were like, oh, I guess it's not meant to be. But then
Yeah.
that film didn't end up getting made, and Blake wrote this. So it kind of, we got to
Worked out.
Yeah, and so my friend was basically like, you know, do you want the idea to go and just try and make it yourself? And at that point, I was like, if I don't make something soon, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it, and I don't know how, but I'll just make it, and here we are.
Amazing. That's the kind of determination you need with indie film, is like, I don't know how I'm going to make this, but I'm going to make it work, you know, and you just get it done. Yeah. I mean, we found like with our experiences is like, if you just jump in, you're going to figure out how to get it done.
Yeah, you guys.
No, and that's the thing. It was like, the longer I'm out here, the more I'm realizing that you're either meeting people who are like, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we'll do it. Or you're meeting people who are like, let me give you all the reasons of why it's not going to work. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it's, and those people are just like, I can't deal with you right now. Okay, please.
Clear the room, please. Yeah. I think, I think you do. It's funny. You do meet those people out, and I just like, it's like instant tuning out happens. Like, you know, you listen, but I think if you are determined, going back to what you were saying, I think you will meet the people who are going to support you and help guide you to make it like work, you know, then give you all the list of reasons why it's not going to work. It's like, okay, well, like, you're considering working with children and you have these stunts. So maybe we like lose one of those, or like maybe we find a way to find solutions, or give you like, you know, the padding of, okay, this is what's going to cost you though. Like, let's consider this stuff, and just help you feel supported than like, oh, this is not. And to your story, it's something that can be produced on a low budget and executed really well. So when you were, you know, did that kind of play into, you know, after spending 8 years, I don't know what your prior project was about, but did you feel, just wondering, was that first project like bigger than what this film was, or was it comparable?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It was definitely an independent film, but that one, I think the budget was around $800,000 to $1 million. That's what we were looking for.
Okay.
And this one we shot for $6,000. So the whole feature. So
and
yeah,
$6,000 feature, insane. But I mean, clearly you did have to like really work with a very skeleton crew, and that's why we love bringing on creators like you, because, you know, a lot of people wait till they can, like, you know, bring themselves to create, but you just couldn't do that anymore. And I really respect that you just are like, okay, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a little tight, but you, like, the way you shot it seems really reasonable. You know, you had the one main location and you were able to let your characters just connect. And that was really beautiful. Like, I love films that do that in general. Like, it's what we try to do with Sync.
Thank you so much.
I love dialogue heavy films, circumstantial films. There's not a lot of flashing lights. It's like you get very invested in the characters and the story, and you sort of like enter that world with them. That's exactly what Blake made.
Yeah.
And you know, there was also a big incentive for me to make a film like this on this scale too. Was it? The older I get, it's becoming a little bit more of a pet peeve of mine when you see somebody like not to pick on them, but like a Quentin Tarantino or a David Fincher say, guys, just grab your iPad and make your movie. Okay. It's not that hard. You know, anybody who tells you to follow your dreams, they've already made it. You know, they're already rich and famous.
And they probably never made it.
I want.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like,
So true.
If like the 45-year-old actor who is like one bad month away from living in his car and maybe he's got like a divorce in his back pocket, if he says I wouldn't change a thing, I'd still follow my dreams, I'm like, okay, well then that must be something. So I wanted to make a film where it was like, I'm a complete nobody and I did it, so it is possible.
Oh, that's why I love this show so much. Thank you for saying that, because I think a lot of people who are listening relate. And that's why, like, we do have like celebrity types come on our show, but we love this community of passionate filmmakers, actors, and who, you know, it's not that easy. And yet you still made it work and you still like pursued something that I think really showcases both of you in such a beautiful way. Like, I really felt like, Blake, I saw who you are as an actor, and Brittney, of course, I saw you as the stunning, beautiful person you are. But did you, like Blake, I mean, as someone who's also written and directed and starred in their film, did you like feel like that was a good representation of like you, and how did you like, for someone, I was always seeking this question, like, would you recommend, you know, anyone, or let's back it up. Let's start with the first question. Did you feel like that was really who you were? Did you bring a part of your soul to this character, and you know, what was that experience like?
I think so. I think this is, it does speak to my interests. You know, I do love these kind of like films made by, you know, Richard Linklater or the Duplass brothers, where it really is just like the human drama is all the stakes you need. You know, you don't need, you know, to like really ante up anything, because that's what we're trying to do. Even in like the craziest sci-fi movie, you're still watching with your friend and somebody says something and you just go like, that's so you. That's so who you are. You know?
Yeah.
So we're always looking for that. So I really like just breaking all that down and just going like, this is a situation I think, you know, people have gone through it, because you know, they say too, like the more personal, the more universal.
Yes. And I wanted to get into that. Yeah, I felt that. It must have come from like a specific place, because there were some very specific moments. And like, Brittney, did you feel very connected to your character and like in the place that she was at?
Yeah, I did. Partly because of the way that Blake wrote it. It's not like it would be in my personality to just show up at somebody's doorstep, I think. But in the right relation, the right friendship, the right relationship, I could see it happening. And the minute Blake had sent it to me, I was like, I know I'm moving, but like, I would this. Like, because it's not often that you read something that you connect with and that you think is good. I mean, you know, you read a lot of stuff and you don't always connect with it. So yeah, I definitely felt a connection to her and their friendship and the sadness that underlied it and the reasons why she wanted to keep it. And it was all due to the writing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and yeah, I mean, I gotta do a shout out to you as well, because I mean, she's so good in this. Like, every cut I watched of the movie, I was texting Nathan and I was just like, God, I just got so lucky with her. But there was one story where I want to say, do you remember this, Britt? It was like day 2 or 3 of the 9-day shoot. And as the writer, you're always like editing in your head, like, oh, this line should have been like this, or I should put this word in front, you know, whatever. So I'm like editing in my head, but I'm also acting, so it's coming out like stream of consciousness. And she pulled me aside and she's like, you're driving me crazy. You stop editing your script. She's like, you need to have, she said, have faith in your own script. Okay. I'm here. We're making this. Like,
I don't remember saying that.
Stick to the script. Oh yeah, no, and I was just like, got it, okay.
I don't remember that at all.
You're like, you're screwing with my cues. You've got to
Yeah,
stop.
I wouldn't know when. I do remember I didn't know when it was my line because she kept changing.
Yeah.
And I was like, listen, we only have 9 days, so we're
Exactly.
when you're done talking.
Oh my God, that's such a challenge though. Again, like where my next question was going to be like, you know, writing, directing, acting, like you are living with this continuously. And like, you know, it's so natural to be like, oh, I don't like that line anymore. Like, you know, and I think that's the beautiful thing about editing and post. Then you can like continue to work with it if things just didn't, you know, sound right, or like, or just, you know, for me it was like cutting down trimming more fat, because I was always like trimming, but at a certain point, like let it play out and then see how it feels. I don't know about you, Blake, but yeah, it definitely, you know, got to a point where I was like, no, this is, yeah, I was still like editing in our rehearsals. I know with Tessa, like I'd still be like just fitzing about it and being like, I don't know.
No, it's why I always say I really don't think I could be in a play that I've written. I have no problem being in a movie because like you do the scene and then it's like it's there. Mm-hmm. If I did like a play, like if I did like the whole thing every day for a certain run, I think it sounds miserable. I would just be like, I just want to rewrite the whole thing.
Darn, because I really want him to make this a play. I really want to adapt this to the stage because I think it'd be so easy
to do. Yes.
It would be, yeah.
Wait, yes.
I really want to tackle that.
A short run for Blake.
Yeah.
So that
yeah,
yeah, exactly.
You should do Hollywood
short,
Fringe.
Yes, I would love to.
Yeah. Yeah. I just was there.
I would love to. Yeah.
Oh my God. No, you absolutely should. And I could see it, and it gives like, yes. Okay. We're on board for this. We're supporting this. We're green lighting it. Not that you need us, but like, yes, I definitely feel that it could totally be in that place, but I definitely empathize with your wanting and desire to rewrite. And I think honestly, in a way that kind of just, you know, shows how much you always want to do better and improve. At least that's what I get from that. It's like, you know, we want to be satisfied, but it's like, it's just this constant wanting things to be as polished and the best and just being the best. And that's where my brain is. It's always like, I can't stop until I feel like, woo, it's good. I feel it. But then, you know, when did you, I guess, feel like for both of you, you know, I'm sure there was a moment though when things were just like connecting so well that you can kind of relax and like just trust what was there, because the connection there was really there between you two, and I thought it was really well done.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Like what was it like connecting on set? I mean, we've been on set. It can feel like a lot of chaos, but then, you know, you have to find a way to ground yourself. So how did both of you find that moment to ground yourself in your roles?
I think that the first day was the hardest because you're trying to like get into a groove, but I don't know, we're like, Blake and I are separately, we're friends, and then we're separately such good friends with Nathan that I feel like we very quickly found our groove. I would say like a few days in, it was just, we were just having fun and it felt like things were clicking. But I can tell in the beginning, you know, I can tell that we weren't quite as comfortable as we got a couple days in.
Day one on set. It's day one. Yeah. It's day one. That's normal.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure, yeah.
And then it just...
Yeah, when I watch the movie, I'm looking for, I can see it like in our performances. I'm just like, we're still trying to figure out what this is.
But it also kind of works because the characters haven't seen each other in
and
so
it's
long.
Awkward.
Yeah. No, it does.
It does kind of work, but I know for myself, I'm like, oh, I'm being uncomfortable right now. So, right. We were just having so much fun. Like there's a point where I'm like in heavy laughter and it's completely real. Like we were just having a great time.
Yeah. Did you guys plan that
by like
too?
day...
Like, did you plan the order so that it was like starting out where it is kind of like, okay, we're supposed to be kind of awkward, or did that just kind of work out that way?
I don't know.
It just kind of worked out that way. It was like, if we're in one location, let's really do something that will benefit us and try to shoot in order.
It was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember even like day 5, you know, we were all just like, the 3 of us, we just want to make movies like forever together.
Yes.
You know, it really clicked so well, where it's like anything and everything to kind of replicate this process, you know, from here on out.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful
And
thing.
speaking of all of you guys being such close friends, your one-man crew, like, how did that happen? Did he volunteer and say like, hey, I can do all of this for you? Or was it a conversation of like, how much do you think you can handle?
I mean, it was kind of like a happy accident, because I was talking to him one day and I was just like, man, I don't know how I'm going to do this for $6,000. And when I told him, he's like, well, who's going to play the girl? And I was like, well, if flights and everything works out all right, Brittney's going to play it. And he got so excited because, again, they are really good friends. And so he looked at me, he's like, you know what? If she does it, I'll do the whole thing for free.
Amazing.
And I was like,
Brittney, did you not know?
No.
Oh my God.
oh yeah, no. Like if it had been anybody else, I would have had to pay him. But because it was you, he was like, I'll do the whole thing for free. Yeah.
I'm
Aw.
making a mental note to say that Blake, we owe so much to Nathan. Like, it's not like an average person that can make a film in an apartment look and sound like that. He's like extraordinarily talented. He's so good.
Yeah, and it was like, and 2 days before we're supposed to start shooting, I had hired this. It was either a recent USC grad or a recent AFI grad to do sound for me, and they called me and they were like, I got a really high paying job during your shoot, so I was like, I get it, but also you suck.
Yeah.
So I said to Nathan, I was just like, I don't know what we're gonna do, and he's like, hold on, and then he called me later that night. He's like, okay, I think this will work. I like makeshifted this little like boom that I'll like have like on me. He said the only thing is like we're gonna have to position this in a way where like you guys can't be but so far from me when we're shooting. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I was like, God, are we making like just a comedy of errors right now? But it worked out. And I told him when we had a screening at a film festival in Las Vegas, somebody at the screening came out and he was just like, that movie sounded so good. And I was just like, I texted immediately. I was like, your little 24-hour film school you gave yourself on sound.
Literally, I don't know anyone else who could have done all the things that he did that way. He's just, I've known him for years. And the minute that he like hired me for some small commercial thing and then we became friends and we just started like trying to make things together because I was like, you make everything look awesome. I mean, he like edited my reels for me when I was younger and he's just so insane. He's insane.
I love that. Finding
Yeah,
people like that is amazing.
But like also unheard
it's
of.
so
Like that's not that's not how it like goes or maybe, you know, should go. Like guys, like sound is a beast. Like I think it takes a very like special person to, I mean, he was just an anomaly and he crushed it. He crushed it.
To be clear, so that
I was like, let me make a distinction. No, don't do that. There's something about, you know, being a director, actor, producer, which is also like nuts, and you know, but then doing that is like you're looking. And then did you literally have no one else? Like it was just him, like no one else had eyes on camera because, you know, booms dip, things like guys, like that is, and that's something, you know, again, I'm saying this out loud so our listeners understand, like doing sound, you know, if you don't have someone on camera, and then like the boom could dip into the shot or create a shadow in the corner, and then you need someone else's eyes in that to catch the reflection off this window. Like the things I was picking up just on our edit, because we were working with a shit ton of reflections, which we knew was a challenge, and I think we still did a great job. But like these are why you have different eyes on camera and doing camera. Like it's one thing to have our like not have a separate camera guy, for instance, doing camera, operating it, and then the DP's just watching picture. So we combine those two roles, but that's like a little closer, you know, than having the sound mixer. So it's a lot that he was definitely juggling there, and it sounds and looks great. So he crushed it. He did it. Yeah. Snaps to Nate.
I keep telling, I keep telling everybody, like, I feel like such a lottery winner, because I got Brittney, who's brilliant in this film. I got Nathan, who's just, you know, just master of all trades. I had my friend Lauren Browning come over, who is my production designer. She's does art directing for like The Daily Show, Love is Blind. So she kind of came over and gave me this like quick tutorial of like, that artwork will get you sued. That book cover will get you sued, you know, so don't show these things.
Yeah.
And I have my friend Hillary Norcott over at Netflix. She does music licensing, and she's like, well, this is the thing you need to get them to sign to use their song. And so I just had so many puzzle pieces that fit together beautifully to make this whole miracle of a movie happen.
That's really important. I'm glad you had somebody to point that out, because that's always like a question, is like, what can we quite get away with? Like, I know for Sync, we had a pizza box that had like, we were hoping it would be like a generic, like, you know, pizza that some of the companies have. But of course it had like their full name. Oh. They were called Upper Crust, and we ended up using a Sharpie and making it Uber Crust. So like, you learn to get around things, but
Uber Crust.
But there's so many things on
you
set that it's like,
pay attention,
you know,
or
you
get a miss exactly. And one thing I just want to say that, you know, does speak true to anyone pursuing this is, you know, if you are a lovely person and you have a story that everyone wants to support, like things do come together and fall into place. So like Blake, you've definitely built some amazing relationships over the years, and like once you had something, you know, I think people will be amazed once you kind of put it out there how people do want to show up and support you in this town. Like I love the community here for that so much. And like to have that extra help, like in so many different ways, not necessarily specifically on set too, is really amazing. And I think, you know, encouraging for anyone who's like, who's going to help me with this? It's like, just, you know, go find your team. Yeah. Like they're out there.
Even in the credits, I threw a shout out to a special thanks to my friend Rachel. And when she watched the movie, she was just like, why am I in the credits? I was like, because you did the first table read of Brittney's part. I was like, I got to hear it out loud for the first time through you. It was like, so that was hugely beneficial. So of course you're going in the credits, you know, like, yeah, anybody who had a hand in doing this, I was like, no, you're getting a tip of the hat. Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
It takes a village. It does. And I'm curious too, to get into, you had mentioned earlier about like the sound design, like the soundtrack that goes with it. Like the style just like matches so well. It's such good music. How did that all come together?
That I'm really particularly proud of the soundtrack, because basically I thought this movie is shot in LA. It, you know, name checks LA. I was like, I really want to do the soundtrack to be about like to be filled with independent artists in Los Angeles. And over the years, I love going to like Hotel Cafe and I getting like to see shows there, and I've gotten to know musicians there. And so when it came time for this, I would like hit all of them and I would just go like, I want this song in this scene. I have like no money to give you. And are you still unsigned? Because that sucks, but also not for me because I have like no paperwork then.
Yeah.
And
If you're signed, I'm not interested.
but I wrote yeah, exactly. I had one artist that was signed, and it's the artist named Alicia Blue, who's based in Nashville, and she's just a brilliant singer-songwriter. And her manager wrote me, and he's like, "So you want her song in the opening of the movie? How much did you say you made the movie for?" I said, "I made it for $6,000." He's like, "Oh, you have no money, so yeah, you can have it." So I was like, okay.
Oh,
Love that.
It really was like, you're just a pathetic little drop in the bucket. No, this is fine. So,
but it's a huge.
but yeah, but like all the needle drops are great. Yeah.
He has great taste in music, and he has his finger on the pulse of the music that's in the movie. I knew that it would be really good, but I love it as well. He did a really good job.
Yeah. And that also just goes to show you, like, don't be afraid to talk budget with people, because, if you were like, oh, it's just low budget, he might have thought you meant low budget as in, $100,000. So
it's more like no budget.
Yeah, exactly. And
yeah,
it's but I will say too, and I want to say this without like knocking other films, but while we've been on the festival circuit with this, I've seen films that range from like $70,000 budget to like $500,000 budget, and I think ours looks just as good as theirs for like that we made for $6,000. And again, that's a shout out to Nathan. But again, like it just kind of it makes me feel good because you can look at our film and just go like, oh, see, but you don't need anybody who says you need this or you need that. You don't need anything.
Yeah.
You actually no, you do. You need a Nathan Johansson. That's what you really
need. For a $6,000 budget.
Solution to all of our problems.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's true. Like the feedback we've gotten for our low budget feature is people do think it's thousands of dollars more than hundreds of $1,000s more than what it is, and that like makes us feel really freaking proud. So I totally get it, because you do want to compete at the end of the day as well, like and not like compete in an aggressive way, just meaning like you want to be taken seriously and as a professional. This is a showcase. This is something you pour your heart out. So of course you don't want it to look like just a little film project that you made one day. You pour so much into it. So that's kind of what you want it to look like at the end of the day, is that it costs so much money. So I've been writing in my emails, so I know it looks like it was made on this budget. So let's be clear, it's only due to the Nathans of our set that helped make this film shine, because we definitely had that in our own set. So it's truly incredible, and we're so grateful to everyone who made our film look way more expensive. Thank you, team.
It looks great. It looks so good.
I'm so excited to see you.
Yeah. Let's fucking go. Okay, we're doing it. We're doing it. It's entering circuit. I know. It's like
That's so exciting.
It is, Brittney. We'll keep it. I know, it's like exciting and like I'm dying every day, but it's fine, guys. It's like, you know how it is. Like you're so close, and you're like still thousands of dollars needing more and more, and you're just like, okay, but we're so proud of it. It's looking amazing, and we're so excited to like be able to have a premiere. So fingers crossed. Let's talk about festivals and premiere, because that's fresh for you. So
sure.
Where did you premiere your film?
So I had a friends and family screening through this great little organization called Secret Movie Club here in Los Angeles.
Oh, I've not heard of it.
And please check out Craig, who runs Secret Movie Club. He real champion of independent film, and really he wants Secret Movie Club to be like the go-to for filmmakers like us to like showcase their work.
Okay.
And then, so we had that, and then our first festival we got into was Indie Vegas Film Festival. Screened there. We won Best Picture Drama, which was great.
Aww.
And then we just screened for the Seattle Film Festival, and we won the Audience Award for Best Romantic Feature.
Yes.
So we got that. And then last night we screened for the Marina Del Rey Film Festival. So we'll find out how we did this coming Friday. Yeah, Friday.
Ooh,
and right now it's just that's just been that'll be the rest of the year for me, is just figuring out whatever festivals we get into, how to get there, and what we need to do to prep.
Yeah. And how has that process been for you? Because I know for us, it's been a lot of like we have this whole list of like ones that we really think we want to submit to, but then it's like, well, but this one's a bigger one than this one. Even though this one comes first, do we hold off on submitting to this one? Like, it's so much to figure out, like, because at this point we're still finishing post, right? So we don't have a premiere yet, and we're hoping a festival will be our premiere. And it's like having to decide how to navigate all that is a lot. So how's that process been for you?
It's really been eye-opening, because I did not really realize how many like kind of brick and mortar mom and pop film festivals there are throughout like not just the country but the world. So first and foremost, I wrote out a list. It was like, okay, what cities or towns do I know somebody where I could like sleep on their couch if I get in, instead of getting a hotel room. And yeah, you have your wish list for a few, but others, I tried to focus more on festivals that are on the younger side, like 10 years or younger, like they've been running for 10 years or younger, because I felt like those would be more friendly to a film like this, like one location, 2 actors, $6,000, and so far it's proven to be like the smart way to go, but we'll see. I still got about 15 I gotta hear back from.
Okay,
congrats.
That makes sense. You have to be smart when submitting. Like it's such a process, and it's difficult sometimes to decide, like, like you get imposter syndrome sometimes, right? You're like, is this festival too big for me? But then you have to just sit back and say, okay, worst case scenario, I spent money and didn't get in. Like, right? Like all the worst they can say is no. So, but it does add up really quickly. So being smart about the submissions is really important.
Yeah.
1,000%. Yeah.
Do you get those emails that are like, they come in droves, these festivals you've never heard of that are like, here, 90% off discount. And you're like, I don't know what this is. And then like suddenly your email's inundated with festivals you've never heard of, and you have to like sort through them.
It's my DMs. I'm like, yes, okay. Like,
the DMs. Hey,
Instagram DMs too, for sure.
Yeah, that's where they are for me.
And if I get one more email about the Oslo Film Festival, I'm gonna go crazy.
Yeah. And we're like, we love your film, and it's like, where did you see it?
Like, red flags. I mean, I don't think that approach is necessarily a bad one for, where we live in this day and age. It's like, okay, especially if they have an online presence, that to me is important. It's something I'm looking for when I'm judging a festival, that like, are you up with the times? Like, what does your website look like? Because what we're saying to festivals, that we're reaching out to, is that we have a community that we built online, and we want them to be involved, and we are going to tag you and, like promote. That's something what we bring to the table as well. So I mean, there are some of these really like old time running festivals that don't, and that's okay. But I do think there is some credit there to the ones who have like kind of built out their social platforms and are finding ways for, filmmakers to connect and share their work. So I don't say like that's necessarily a red flag if they are DMing you, but like to say they already saw your film, like you could tell when the message is like problematic. Like you're just scuba diving in the sea of the world of filmmakers trying to get all the cash, and that's where I have a problem, because it does add up, and it's like, you know, what are you offering me? So it's everything you have to, what we've found is that you do have to research so much, you know, where, you know, exactly how long has the festival been running, what's the location, like exactly, is it a theater or is it someone's backyard, you know, like where is it, and who's qualified before, who's been there, you know, who are you competing against or being celebrated with? Let's say that instead. Who are we like going to be celebrating with? And so that's been a lot more research, you know, into what we're finding like that we need to do. And yeah, with us not having premiered yet, that puts a lot of pressure too on us to like get this first one done right. And it's annoying because it's like I just want to share my film with like everyone and with anyone who's so willing to accept us. I don't want to turn more people away, because we've had to turn someone away already, and it's like it sucks. But hey, hey, and we were up for 3 awards too, but it's like okay, it didn't make sense for a premiere though, and that they wanted us to like screen it the following week, not with the DCP, not finished. Like there was also all of that, but I just felt too, I'm like, then you're just looking for us to put butts in seats and sell tickets, and like maybe down the road that wouldn't feel so but right now just did not make sense for a premiere. Yeah.
That was the thing with that one, is like, we should have done more research ahead of time, which, you know, hey, we've been doing so much research, like things are going to get missed. It happens. But like, we realized once they had accepted us, because we submitted a work in progress, that the notification date was like a week, maybe 2 weeks at max.
Literally the next week.
And it, like, we're not going to be done. They had no real like online presence. They were all about like, you know, you really need to promote this for us, which of course we're going to share and try to get people there. But like the job shouldn't fall solely on the filmmakers. So it was just like some, 100%. You know, it was things lining up. We were like, this is not worth it, especially for that to be our premiere status too, that is gone after we screen here, you know.
Good for you for waiting for the right thing. That's hard to do, but very smart.
Thank you. Thank you. I literally like got it. I'm gonna post this actually on social media, I think this week, and share the story, but like I got it. I like screamed, cried, the whole thing, but not even like a full 10 minutes later, I just had like a sinking feeling. I was just like, no. And I texted Tessa right away. I'm like, no, we're not sending anyone any updates just yet, because I think we need to think about this, babe. And like I'm really glad that like you just got to listen to your gut always at the end of the day. Always, it'll tell you. But when you do this additional research, you can make those decisions that are really hard when you're so emotionally charged and excited and like want to celebrate your work at the end of the day that you worked so hard on. But I guess that's my advice to anyone listening out there. It's like, always take a pause, even when it's like good news, like, because it's still good news at the end of the day, right? But it's like trying to, so sometimes you just got to look at the facts, and it'll really help you just stay really clear and focused when you're like overwhelmed.
And timing is everything too, because I think for us, you know, had this happened when we already did have the film finished, already had premiered somewhere, then it's like, well, why not? I mean, you know, like we've already paid for the submission. Right. Why not screen in another place? But yeah, again, the timing just didn't line up for us in this case. So it's everything.
I mean, like the timing, I mean, you want to talk about timing. I mean, like because we haven't even touched on this yet, but the Brittney was, you know, pregnant during the shooting of this movie. So that timing really, I mean,
let's get into that
right before you started shooting into that. Yeah.
Oh my God, how pregnant were you, Miss Brittney?
I was in my second trimester, but we were supposed to film it a bit earlier, and I was so sick that I had to pull out. of it. Remember, Blake? I was like, I'm so
Oh yeah.
sorry. I was like too sick to get up from bed, let alone like fly across the country. I was like, I will not be able to do a good job.
Oh
Like, I'm
my
trying to
God.
get through the day. So I was so sad. And then literally like 2 weeks after that, it lifted. So I was like, wait, and I texted him. What were you gonna say?
Yeah. Oh, no, I was gonna say that I was literally mid email offering the role to somebody else, and you texted me, and you're just like, I think I can still do it if you'll still have me. And I was like,
I had the text drafted for days, and I was like, this is so rude. Don't send this to him. Like you already pulled out. But I was just like, I had days and days go by where I was feeling fine. I was like, are you kidding me? At this point, I had to pull out of so many other little things that didn't matter to me quite as much. But this, I really didn't want to miss. And so my husband was like, just send him the text. Just send it to him. And I was like, I can still do it if you want me.
I like, when I told Nathan too, I was like, I think we're gonna have to get somebody else to do this thing, and I could just see it in his eyes. I was like, he's gonna want me to pay him because
that's why he took me back.
He's trying to figure out a really nice way to just be like, so about that no money.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But so shooting the whole film in 9 days was hard enough, but Brittney was also, she's like, listen, because you were staying like an hour away from
my family lived like 40 hour away.
Yeah, so she was an hour away. So you said to me like the day before we started shooting, you're just like, if we could keep me like 9-10 hours, and because it's like an hour here and then an hour back. Mm-hmm. And I just remember it's like, well, again, we were kind of, to go back what we were saying about like, you just figure out how to make it work.
Yeah.
Because I was like, all right, so I would love 16-day hours or 16-hour days right now, because we have 9 days to shoot an entire feature, but she can only do 10. So that's when the producer brain just kind of goes like, all right, well, we got to make it work.
Understanding. And I was also like, I will need like a day off in between these days, just because my body, I was so much tired. I was doing well at that point. And like a few weeks later got very tired because I was like a little anemic, I guess. So it was like really in a picture perfect window. But I was like, I'm also going to need a full day of rest in between, where I don't have to do anything or go anywhere, because I really wanted to make sure that I was able to do a good job. And being pregnant, it's like already your body's like doing so much work. So he was really understanding. He didn't put me back on any of it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you just got to make it work.
I know. And so like on your day off, I told Nathan, I was like, okay, everything that is with me outside, come over and we'll just shoot all that stuff, so we don't have her like sitting inside like waiting to like shoot something else.
And I like texted.
Yeah. So we did that. And it's just like it's just Nathan like running backwards with the camera while I'm running towards him. And I gotta do a shout out too. Before we were talking about music, the band, the fictional band in the movie Street Corner Lemonade, that song was written and recorded by a kid I used to babysit. He's at the you didn't know that either? No. Yeah, he's actually at the Clive Davis School of Music right now at NYU.
That's so cool.
And he set up his whole music studio in his basement. And I was like, I texted him one day and I was like, hey, I really don't want, I'm already asking these people for their music for free. I don't want to have to tell a band, and we're going to say this other band wrote your song in the movie. I was like, can you give me like, I just need like a minute of like an indie rock like song basically. And he was like, send me like 3 songs of what you want it to sound like. And I did. And like a week later he sent that to me and I would listen to it and I was like, again, cannot believe how lucky I am.
Yeah.
Because I sent it to my co-producer Anastasia Rutkowski, and she wrote me back. She was like, "Is this the song of the summer?" And I was like, "You're goddamn right." Which I have to do a shout out to her as well. She was kind of my oasis in the desert that was making this movie, because there were many moments where I was just like, face buried in hands, like, I don't know how we're gonna pull this off. And she's like, you're just gonna pull it off. I know you will. So she was, just she was an invaluable resource for me.
That's the thing, like, you need a team beyond just your actual, like, literal crew team there, but like just a support system, because making movies is stressful, and there's gonna be more than one time when you're like, I can't do this, or how am I gonna do this, or all of those things. So having that support system is really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And let's talk.
I'm jealous of you guys. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm super jealous of you guys, though, because I know you guys had your set catered, and I was just like, oh, we had Little Caesars pizza every day.
We had some bomb catering.
You know what?
We do. I'm gonna say it. We did. It was lit. I was let's go.
Yeah.
Because, again, we're asking so much of our team. It's like the least we could do. Again, anything we could do to like pay for our team, food, money. It's like crew. Let's give it all to them. And especially because some of them were donating their services or like time. So it's like, that's how we can repay you in crafty and food. So, and Celsius. We had some Celsius ODs, but it's okay.
Filmmaking. That's no pay and free lunch. That's indie filmmaking right there.
Wow,
exactly.
Were you guys able to be surprised by which way Little Caesars decided to cut the pizza that day? Because that was a very exciting part of our day.
Oh,
that wasn't very exciting.
Just sideways. And wasn't there a day where it was like half and half, or it was like insane?
It was half and half, and they also asked like, do you want your pepperonis normal or old world pepperoni? And we're like, what does
that mean?
So I was like eating my homemade lunch while they're like, oh, it's a grid today, and they're eating these like long strips of pizza.
Little Caesars was like, these guys again? We gotta make it interesting.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, they were trying to like help you out, like diversify the food in the way like that it surprised you. You know, just like let's change it up.
You keep them on their toes, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh well,
Tessa, what were you going to ask before?
Yeah, let's talk about the future for this project. Are you looking for distribution? Are you going to wait and see how the festival circuit plays out? Like, what are your plans?
Right now, I'm seeing a little bit longer of how the festival circuit plans out, but I have had a couple of conversations about distribution. So we'll see how that looks. But hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have some deal in place.
Hell yeah!
And
awesome.
Yeah, and because it's funny. Me 10 years ago, I would have been like, it's got to be theatrical, or why even make it? And now it's like, I just want eyeballs. I don't care if it's on the phone. I don't care if it's in a theater. Just I want, you just want your stuff to be seen.
1000%. And that's congrats on all of that. It sounds like you have a great plan for moving forward with it, and we wish you the best of luck on that. We'll definitely want to stay in touch as we head down that path ourselves. I think the best we can do is in our space is share this person's a shark, watch out. This person, you just, you know what I mean? So we best of luck on that. But I will definitely be in touch, because that's something where I think we can help each other out and share. It's a hard thing to navigate, but I'm so excited for you. That's amazing. And what's next in the works of Blake Berlin?
I'm trying, just starting pre-production on a film I'm going to try to shoot in North Carolina, maybe sometime in the next year. So we'll see in terms of money, because I don't want to do another $6,000 feature, but we'll see.
What's the genre of this one?
This one is going to be basically it's going to be another dramedy.
Another dramedy.
But I'm trying to. I've got 2 scripts that I'm trying to figure out which one I want to like pull the trigger on.
2 that you've
But
written.
both would be set in North Carolina?
Both would be like filmed in North Carolina.
Both. Okay, so you have 2. Wow. Okay. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're 2 feature-length scripts.
You wrote them both, Blake?
Yeah, I wrote both of them.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's fucking go.
I'm gonna hit you up about it. Don't
I know.
feel
I'm gonna fly down
you're
to
gonna be
Boom if I have to. I'm just gonna show up.
I love
She's
it.
on camera, her hands outside of the frame, holding the boom.
Exactly. I'm so excited for your guys' film too, and
Thank you.
I love what you guys are doing with the podcast. Yeah, keeping indie film alive.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Going. Important.
And no, thank you. And again, we're so grateful to have you both on and like so willing to like share all the hurdles. But I think that's what helps us all like bond together at the end of the day and keep this film community alive and well. Because these headlines, y'all, I'm like, I can't read anything that's coming up these days. I'm like, Hollywood is going to be fine. People need, like, we survived the pandemic. Like, we thrived in the pandemic somehow. So, like, we just got to keep going, keep pursuing. I love that you already, Blake, have, 2 romantic comedy options or dramedies set, written and coming up next. I think it's always important to think about the next project and have that ready to go and have something that's in line with what people already saw, because then it's like, oh, you've already made a proof of concept, which is not a proof of concept. It's literally a goddamn feature, but it just shows like proof of your work and your abilities.
To add what you were saying too, that's been a really great thing about the festival circuit is I have been meeting a couple of filmmakers that are like 16, 17 years old. They have shorts in the festivals and they're like geeking out about, like Kubrick and Denis Villeneuve. And so that really just, it helps me sleep better at night. Cause with, like you were saying, the strikes and the pandemic and, the surgence of AI, you start to just go like, oh my God, are we like, is our movies going to go the way of like opera or what? And so to see these young filmmakers like be so hungry, I'm just like, oh, we're going to be fine.
We're going to be fine.
Yeah.
We are.
And hopefully that even opens up more doors for independent film is, the quote unquote like collapse of the industry is that's going to give us more chances, because we need entertainment. Like it's Hollywood and movies are not going to die. People need entertainment, so maybe it can come from the indie world instead.
Yeah, absolutely. Creativity survives under pressure. It just does.
Agreed.
Gonna die.
Aww. Guys, I almost like want to virtually all hold hands and be like, we're in this together. We got this. I'm so proud of you both. Thank you for coming on the show today. And where can our listeners follow you both individually and the film? Pimp yourselves out.
You can follow me Instagram at it's Blake Berlin, and the film itself does not have an Instagram page because it's $6,000 film, so it wasn't like So my Instagram doubles as the film's Instagram.
Amazing. We're here for it. Follow it.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. I would have probably felt the same, Blake. I would have been like, yeah, it's but
yeah, I was just like this. There's no point. Yes.
No, we are here for it. We are supporting. Okay. Follow Blake and Miss Brittney.
You can find me on Instagram at Brittney Bertier or at TikTok, same handle, Brittney Bertier. And yeah, that works for me.
Amazing. And that'll all be in the show notes, listeners. So make sure that you are following and seeing what exciting new things are on the horizon for both Blake and Brittney.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to FemRegard Podcast. If you like what you hear, tune in every Friday for more tips on the filmmaking business and insightful conversations with industry professionals. We can only grow with your support, so please subscribe, share, rate, and review. You can also join the Fem Fam on Patreon. For more on us, check us out at femregard.com.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.